Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Woke Witch Tarot. For today's video, I thought it would be interesting to do something a little bit different. I wanted to do a quick pick a card on fears. Fear is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, how it helps us, how it holds us back. And I thought it would be interesting to do a spread that basically answered the question of what your biggest fear is at the moment, whether consciously or subconsciously, and how it is that that fear is holding you back from your destiny, from your highest self, how it is that it is betraying the person that you are meant to become. So, as always, these pick a cards are general readings, so they're not going to resonate with everybody. If you would like a personal reading, please feel free to reach out to me on my website at wokewitchtarot.com. And also feel free to follow me on my Instagram. I do a lot of readings there. I do free mini Instagram readings as well. And I also do some tarot deck giveaways, so that information is listed up above if you'd like to follow me there. With all of that said, let me go ahead and tell you what feathers we have to choose from for this particular spread. The reason that I chose feathers for this spread is because feathers are typically seen as swords in the tarot, and swords, of course, if you're familiar with the tarot, represent our mental thoughts, our mental energy. So I thought that that was fitting for this particular spread. We have 4 options here. The first is this white feather with a gold top. The second is this black feather with a gold top, a white feather with a brown top, and then we have this pink feather for feather number 4. So once again, the feathers, the piles are pile 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you need a moment to pause the video to take a couple of deep breaths and meditate on the question of what your subconscious fear is and how it is that that is betraying your destiny, feel free to pause the video here and take a moment to kind of meditate on the question. And when you open your eyes, pick the one that you're immediately drawn to. Don't overthink it. Just go ahead and pick the one that resonates with you the most. And then feel free to fast forward to the times that I've listed here on the left for your particular feather. If more than one feather catches your attention, then watch the readings for those feathers. You don't have to stick to just one, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started with feather number 1. Hello, feather number 1. If you picked feather number 1, then this is the reading for you on what your greatest fear is and how it is that that fear is showing up in your life and what it is that it is preventing you from achieving. What is it that it is blocking? What is it that it is holding you back from that is your destiny? I'm going to pull some tarot cards and then we'll get some clarifiers and we'll pull some advice as well, some oracle cards at the end. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about the feather that you picked because I feel like this is one of the most important parts of the reading. Feathers in general, like I said at the beginning, represent swords in the tarot. They represent our thoughts, our mental energy. And the fact that you picked this white feather with this gold top says something in and of itself. The reason that you were drawn to this particular feather, I think this says something. Now, traditionally speaking, feathers, you see them a lot in Native American culture, and they're worn as a sign of wisdom. They represent wisdom, the things that we've learned. They also represent communication with spirit. A lot of people, when they see feathers, they feel like it's a sign that a loved one is communicating with them, or that the universe is with them, or that they're on the right path. This particular feather, the white with the gold top, to me, it says that you are looking in life for a fresh start, a cleanliness, if you will, with the white lower portion. If you've found yourself occasionally saying, whether recently or not recently, that life would go your way or that things could change if you could get a fresh start, then this is absolutely the deck for you. If you've thought, if I could just move overseas and just change my name and my hair and get a completely new start, my life would be different. This is definitely the pile for you. When I see this white feather like this, I see somebody that's looking for a rebirth, a second chance, a way to wipe the slate clean. In religious terms, it's almost like you're looking for a baptism, to wash away sin, to wash away regret and remorse and mistakes that you've made in the past. Looking for that divination almost, in your spirit and in your life, trying to recharge and start fresh. It represents a return to innocence in some instances. So perhaps you're looking to go back to a time where you felt like you were a better version of yourself, less inhibited, less fearful. You could also be looking for spiritual answers in your life. Maybe that's why you're watching tarot readings. To me, this feather says your prayers are heard and they're answered. It also says that your angels are with you, the universe is with you, that you are on the right path. And most importantly, that your mistakes, the things that you regret, the heartache that you've lived through in your life, they are a necessary part of your journey. You cannot reach this level of divination without earning it. So all of the mistakes that you wish that you could wipe clean, you would not be, or maybe the bad choices that you feel that have put you in a certain place in your life that you don't feel like is genuine to you. You cannot ascend, which feathers represent ascension. You cannot ascend to this goldly state, right? To this royalty, to this higher level without those mistakes. So the desire to start fresh would mean erasing all of the lessons that you've learned from the trials and the tribulations in your life. And those two things, erasing that and not continuing to live with the lessons that you've learned from those things, that does not mesh with becoming the person that you're meant to be. Because the person that you're meant to be, your highest self, needs the lessons that you learned from these mistakes. This gold to me represents the crown chakra. So if perhaps you feel like your crown was taken by life, chipped away at little by little, right? We see some sparse feathers here. You could have found that you feel like, again, like this version of you in the past wore the crown, and all of a sudden now you don't have that crown and you're trying to reach that status again. And I don't mean that just in material things, I mean that spiritually and in how you show yourself that you love yourself, how proud you feel of yourself. Now, I also with this gold top I see the hanged man in my head, that orb of illumination around the head. If this is you, then that illumination is, that gold is springing from your crown chakra. It is the light of illumination. And I think that falls in line with this need, this desire for purification. You have to look at that desire from a different perspective. You have to look at that desire from the perspective of, without this illumination, without that pain, without that necessary growth, without all those tower moments, you wouldn't have had the illumination to ascend to a place where you could be holy, where you could reach this state of nirvana that you're looking for, okay? It also could mean that you're in a state of stagnation. So you're looking for something to kind of push you forward, to get you moving. Feather number 1. I think that's That's all that's coming to my head, but if I think of anything else, I certainly will mention it. Let's look at what it is that you are fearing. For feather number 1, please. Their greatest fear and how it is that it's betraying them. Their greatest fear, please, for feather number 1. Feather number 1, please. Too many cards. Feather number 1, please. What is the greatest fear for feather number 1, please? Okay. Death. So you could be a Scorpio. You could have a Scorpio somewhere in your chart. But to me, there's so much that I want to say. Let me start here. Pulling the card of death as a fear. Obviously, you could be afraid of literal death. You could feel like time has slipped by and you've spent it making poor decisions, making tons of mistakes that haven't led you to this place that is where you're meant to be. So you could fear that physical death, but also you fear transformation. You fear transformation, and that is why you have remained stagnant with this hanged man energy that I saw at the beginning. Change is scary. And it's interesting because, and I feel like this is going to happen a lot during these readings, the things that we want the most happen to also be the things that we fear the most, isn't it? So you wanting this clean slate, this change, this illumination, right? To rise in the ranks, to start fresh. You can't have the rebirth if you don't have the death first. So the thing that you want the most is the thing that you fear the most. Now that can manifest itself in your life in several different ways. Perhaps, just for example's sake, you're in a relationship that you know isn't good for you. You know isn't giving you what you need. You're afraid to leave that person, whether it be because of financial reasons, because of needing to think about children that are involved in the equation. So even though you want that freedom, even though you want a different type of love in your life, you think so heavily on the consequences of what it would take, what you might lose in order to get to that next place that you're meant to be. And so you're stuck. You're stuck like the hanged man. You're hanging from a tree, unable to change because the change is the thing that you fear the most. I also got this for someone, and this might be just for one person. I realize it might not relate to everybody, but I get the sense that, how do I phrase this? You're so used to being in this pattern of needing, it's almost like if you wear your hair the same way every day and you finally get it cut. And so many people notice it, but not because the things that they say aren't complimentary in that it looks nice. It's more something like, wow, you finally changed your hair. So you're so used to trotting down a specific path that you don't want that attention, the attention that change brings. People second guessing you, questioning you, noticing that you're changing. Because that in and of itself is a little bit uncomfortable. I see this light here in the distance as well. And we have these towers here. So like I said, you're afraid of the tower moment. You're afraid, you want the change without the pain, without the sacrifice, without shaking things up. And I don't know if the change that you're looking for, if you're going to get that without there being some pain, some, you got to cocoon, you've got to transform. You don't turn into a butterfly without some discomfort. So you're walking towards that tower, and on the other side of it is this illumination, like on the Hanged Man. You have to walk through the tower to get there. And this change is the thing that you're afraid of. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Wands. So perhaps it is, in fact, a change in a relationship that would be necessary for you to pursue a new romantic passion or a new creative passion. Perhaps you're afraid to put yourself out there. The thought of somebody critiquing your creative work, or you trying to start your own business, and the naysayers, the haters that might judge you if you fail, your ego won't let you take that step so that you can stop hanging from that tree, get out of stagnation, and start this fresh new start. Very, very interesting. Okay. I want to know where this fear came from. Where did this fear originate, please? For feather number 1. Where did this fear originate, please? For feather number 1. Where did this fear originate, please? For feather number 1, please. One thing that is really standing out to me as I'm shuffling is this flag. Remember I had mentioned that there's this fear of almost like getting attention with whatever change it is that you're going to make. You could be in a situation where the people in your life are not supportive when you make a change. You feel like they're like waving this black flag of death. Like it's almost more trouble than it's worth to make a change because of the way that people react in your life to you trying to do something positive for yourself. It kind of reminds me of the Six of Wands in getting attention, but this is almost like negative attention. Like when you decide to transform, you kind of like raise this flag of death, and everybody notices it as you kind of parade down the street. I also feel like there's some roadblocks. I'm going to clarify this for you guys, but I feel like there's some roadblocks in making this transformation, so we'll see what that is. So where this originated from is the King of Swords. I don't feel like this is something that originated, let's say, from childhood, because we are at king status here with this card. I do feel like it could have been something that happened as far as professions go, with a lawyer, with somebody that is very intellectual and logical, with a scholar. Somebody like that could have put this notion in your head that you can't walk away, especially if this is for, let's say, a divorce. You might feel like you're stuck in the justice system, or you will be if you try to make this transition. Custody might be an issue. So I feel like this is something that was put in your head later in life, something that you learned later, which is very, very much falls in line with this feather, right? The feather that I feel like is about rebirth after making mistakes. So you've reached these mistakes in adulthood, and now you're looking back with a logical mind. Now that your emotions are out of it, and you're saying to yourself, I should have made different decisions. Kings, the swords, of course, here representing thought. This is something that originated in your mind. This is something that has grown to a kingly status in your mind. It's that prominent. And we have these butterflies in the back here, which to me signify transformation, very much in line with the Death card. It's almost like you're afraid to open this door of change. Let me show you that. Behind that unicorn. You're afraid to open the door of transformation because you've developed these mature thoughts that say the opposite. They say you can't make it through that door. That's what you've convinced yourself of. And this fear has grown in your mind to the point that it's become a king. Maybe this is what's at the crown of your feather. Being bogged down by this King of Swords, by these thoughts that say to you that change is not possible for you, especially if you're making this change later on in life, with this being a king. What will happen if feather number 1 does not address this fear? What path is feather number 1 headed towards if they do not address this fear? What path is feather number 1 headed towards if they do not address this fear? Okay, so certainly could be a legal situation with the 6 of Pentacles. You could feel like if you leave, if you change, it's going to cost you. You could feel like the scales won't tip in your favor, the scales of justice. And we have these little baby unicorns here. So you could have children involved in this equation. You could also fear that what you get in return, the risk that you're taking to get something new and fresh, it might not be as good as where you have it now. You might not believe that you have what it takes to get that. It's almost like the grass might not be greener, and the fear of that stops you from transforming. You could also be worried that you'll lose finances when you make this transformation, especially if the thing on your mind is a change in your work, a transformation in a career. You could feel like you might be left in this charitable state where you are relying on people to throw change at you, right? Because we have kind of these beggar unicorns that are waiting for the charity of this unicorn here. They're beholden to this unicorn. So I feel like if you don't make this change, you're going to be left in this place of poverty where you're always dependent on somebody else or something else. And you'll feel like you've done yourself this great injustice. Like you're not giving yourself what you need, this place of lack. You'll be stuck in this energy if you don't make the transformation that you are afraid to make. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Swords. So I feel like you won't receive the clarity that you need on what it is that you can achieve, on what it is that you can get done. And you'll be stuck with this thought that change isn't possible for you. I don't know why I want to say this, but poverty mindset keeps coming into my head. So you might be in a place where you feel like, and with this gold crown, I mean, it makes sense on the feather. If you have this mindset that you were always a certain way, so there's no way that can change. You have this almost like your crown is a burden. The thought of being successful, the thought of getting your finances up. You fear confirming the thing that you feel like you've always known about yourself. And I say known with air quotes because that's not the truth. We can always change our fate. Nothing is final. That's why I like doing readings like this that aren't completely centered around, love relationships, because This is important work. This is important growth that we need. Let's see, what does the path look like if feather number 1 releases this fear? What is the path if feather number 1 releases this fear? What is the path if feather number 1 releases this fear, please? What is the path if feather number 1 releases this fear? I'm only taking jumpers, so I'm going to need you guys to be patient. Jumpers or flippers? What is the path? Strength. Coming into your life with the strength to make change, with the strength to decide, this is who I want to be, and these are the steps that I'm going to take to make that transformation. I get the sense too, especially if you have children, that people are going to look up to you if you're able to release this fear and make this transformation that you so desperately want to make. It could be about balance as well. Balancing what you eat, balancing your thoughts, balancing your emotions. But you'll grow to be a stronger person so that you can attack the things that you want in your life. You'll be operating from a place of strength instead of this place of need, of settling. If you don't make this change, you are going to spend your time on your path settling for scraps, settling for change, instead of being this strong, fearless lion or this strong unicorn that has learned to tame their lion, the thing that they are afraid of, right? The fiercest animal in their jungle. This is what you stand to gain if you let go of this fear. So I feel like the first step for you, feather number 1, would be to say, what is that change that I am most afraid of, right? So that you can think, is there a way that I can take a step in order to make that happen, so that I'm not stuck in this place where I'm settling for a life that is less than what I deserve because I've trained my brain to believe that it cannot transform, that it cannot change, that I'm not the person that's deserving of that. Clarify death, please. So we have the Hermit. Yeah. Feather number 1, I'm just going to say this, okay? You're hiding. If I hide, then I don't have to take a risk. If I hide, then the thought of failing won't hurt. But you are hurting by not taking this new opportunity, by not starting fresh like the feather represents. You are hurting. You're hurting yourself, not just now, because you clearly have the doubts. This clearly is something that weighs on your head. You're not speaking kindly to yourself with this King of Swords energy in your brain about this transformation. So you're already experiencing this pain. And you'll be on this path of settling instead of operating from a place of your greatest inner strength to get those things that you want. You're blocking your blessings, right? So I feel like you're hiding right now. Maybe I can hide and let the world change in my favor instead of actually getting off this tree with that hangman energy and making this happen for myself. You're literally just hanging around. It's funny too. I said hangman energy, and if you look at this card, just hanging around, right? Clarify strength, please. Clarify strength, please. The Devil. Yeah, I feel like your path lies in this place of unattaching yourself from this toxic mindset. I also get this I get this sense that this strength, not only is it going to be addicting, right? Like, it's like, when you start a weight loss journey and you lose the first 10 pounds, that is almost more, that's so addictive to see that first change, to be like, wow, the things that I did are working. And that propels you. That propels you to move forward, to go harder, right? I feel like this will be addictive. It'll leave you in this place of, I can do this again, and I can do this again, and I can keep transforming, and I can keep changing. And so it's the beginning. That one change will change your entire life. It will completely change this path for you, because you'll gain so much momentum that you'll be addicted to this strength that you now feel, that nothing will feel like it is impossible for you. I also get here that just trying to find the words, and I'm getting another message, so bear with me just 1 second. I feel like this strength is something that was the thing that you feel like you let go of. I feel like it was the thing that you felt that you lost. Like you let life chip away at you and chip away at you and chip away at you until you felt like you didn't have anything. Right? You let these thoughts, the King of Swords cuts, right? Cut so deep at you that it took some of your goodness. It took your strength. It took your confidence, your belief in yourself. And when you get the strength, you're going to feel like, I really feel myself. You're going to become addicted to yourself in this new space. I don't see this devil energy as a bad thing at all. I see this as somebody that looks in the mirror and says, you are fine, girl. Or look at how far you've come. You're proud of yourself in a good way, because you've developed so much strength by tackling this fear. That is such a great reading. We're not done yet though. You have the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So this signifies the end of burden, right? You're at this place where you're at the cusp of something new when you move towards this strength, when you move towards this positive side of your path. But it's not going to be easy to do it. You're going to need to continue to rely on your inner strength, because there are going to be burdens along the way with the Ten of Wands to get to this place. Nothing good in life comes easy, right? And I feel like there's going to be a lot of moments where you're going to have to tell this King of Swords that is in your head, that is telling you that you are not good enough. You're going to have to spend a lot of time telling that King of Swords to shut the F up, because you're going somewhere and you don't have time for them renting space in your head anymore. This version of yourself. You know, I almost see that as a mantra. Some of you might find that helpful. When you get this gentleman getting back into your head, to say, I'm not you anymore. I'm this person. This is the path we're headed on. This is the train we're on. This is the destination that we're headed towards. If you don't want to be on this train, you need to get off, because this is where we're going. I've decided that now. Okay? All right, let me go ahead and pull an oracle card for you. Some advice, please, for feather number 1. Some advice, please, for feather number 1. Okay, you've got Cosmic Ancestor, Seed the Light by Staying Grounded, the Starkeeper card. Remember, white feathers represent somebody looking out for you. So even when you don't feel like you have the strength to tell this King of Swords to simmer down because you've got places to go, you're no longer living in this poverty mindset. When you don't feel like you have that strength, remember that your angels are with you. Remember that the universe is with you, helping you make these transitions. You've got big picture thinking, visionary, inspired ideas. So perhaps there is an ideal person, an ideal vision that you can find, create a vision board that keeps you motivated and reminded every day to not go into hermit mode on your emotions, on your dreams, to not be recluse, to come out of hiding and to make this change happen. I definitely get vision board here a lot, especially when you see the reflection here in this pool of water. It's almost like reflecting every day in the mirror to you, everything that you know you're going to be when you get to this place. You might even want to make a vision board on your mirror around where you normally look at yourself, so that all of these things feel like they encompass you when you look in the mirror. So if you're looking in the mirror here, you've got all your vision board laid out around you, pasted on your mirror, so that they are a part of the image that you see reflecting back at you every day. All of these ideas that you're inspired to be. And big picture thinking, I mean, thinking about sacrificing in the short term so that you can have it in the end, the stuff that really matters. And then you have Star Family. You're a part of a team of souls. Call in support. Again, right on the Strength card. Like I said, pray because your prayers are heard and answered. That's what this white feather means. Your angels are with you and you are on the right path. And when you feel like you don't have the strength, the universe will step in for you and it will take care of you. So we've got Capricorn, we've got Leo, some air energy, earth energy. We also have the Hermit, Virgo, and Death, Scorpio. That could be your sign. That could be the sign of somebody that you're dealing with. You might also be a Pisces, because I kept getting that visual of the Hanged Man in my mind. So I hope that this reading was helpful to you. I know it's not your typical stuff that you see here on YouTube, but I love doing videos like this that aren't just 100% centered around love. In fact, I'd argue that this is the highest type of love reading that you could get on a tarot channel, right? Because self-love is the most important love. So let me know if this reading resonated with you. What is the transformation that you are looking to make in your life? When are you going to get out of hermit mode? What's your plan? Are you going to make a vision board? And you know, let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. If you do find that the reading resonated with you and it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It's not required, obviously, but I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow and it helps other people see the videos. If you'd like to support the channel by sharing it, I would very much appreciate that as well. All right, with that said, I've got a ton of other videos on the channel if you're interested in those. But if this is where I leave you, I'm so grateful that you watched, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Alrighty, if you picked feather number 2, then this is your reading for what your greatest fear is, whether conscious or subconscious, and how it is that that fear is betraying your destiny, the ultimate version of you, the person that you are meant to become. So we are going to jump into some tarot. I will clarify wherever needed, and we will also pull some oracle cards, some advice for you. But before we begin, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this feather that you chose, because I think that this is a very important part of the reading. Why you chose this feather, why you were intrigued by it, why you gravitated towards it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, feathers to me represent swords in the tarot, and swords, as you know, represent our mental thoughts. Feathers in general are seen as signs from the angels. A lot of times when somebody sees a feather fall, they believe that that is your spirit guides or your ancestors or a loved one that's passed away, or the universe that is telling you that you are on the right path, that is telling you that they are there for you, that they are listening to your prayers, that they are listening to your desires, that you are guided and protected. This feather in particular is very interesting, and I feel like it will probably be the least picked feather out of all four feathers, that are available. So right off the bat, kudos to you for picking feather number 2, because a black feather to me says quite a bit. So we have this black feather with this gold crown. People that are drawn to feathers like this are people that are not afraid to dig deep. They are not afraid to search through the dark in order to find what it is that they're looking for. You might actually find that you are drawn to darkness. That you are interested in revealing things that lurk in the dark. This feather, and you picking it, to me represents a certain level of fearlessness in your life. Being willing to do the deep work that is necessary to be done in order to ascend, which is another thing that feathers represent, ascension and wisdom. You might find that your wisdom lies in the dark. It lies in places that cannot be seen. It doesn't lie in the material world. It lies deep in your spiritual self. So you might be trying to dig that out of yourself right now. Your fear lies somewhere deep in the dark, and you're not afraid to pick that fear. You're not afraid to pick at that scab. In fact, you realize that in order to be crowned, in order to reach this level of ascension, it is necessary to trudge through the dark right now. I also get the feeling here that the people that picked this feather, you might have gone through a rough patch lately. You might have gone through a lot of negativity in your life, a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of things that have prepared you to be this fearless fighter, to be this person that is forged in fire. You have been molded to be strong, because there are not a lot of people that can be strong in this way. So you are special. That is one of your purposes here in this world, to do the deep dark work and to reveal what lies in the dark for the people that are too afraid to do that themselves. You could also be in this place where you're trying to ward off negativity, negative energy that might be coming your way, and you're trying to stand strong. You might feel like you're in this place where you need protection, or where you are trying to set boundaries with people and with yourself on how things are going to be and what you will and will not allow in your life. This is the feather of the rebel, someone that is going their own way and making their own path. You do not swim with the other fish. You swim in a totally different direction. You're not afraid to be alone. You are not afraid to dare, right? You're willing to take risks. If you pick this feather, I also get this sense that there is something that is blocking your third eye. Because black feathers they go hand in hand with black crows. And crows, when we see them in lore, we always see them with that third eye on their forehead, all seeing, able to see into different dimensions, able to fly high and observe things that are on the ground from a different perspective. So you could have some blockages there. You could also be coming into this place of ascension spiritually, where that ascension, realizing that you have gifts that people don't see, that you're almost afraid to talk about, you have a fear of exposing those gifts, of sharing them with the world, of bringing attention to yourself with this golden crown as the person that can dig into the dark. You might be interested in starting your own tarot channel, doing Reiki work, metaphysical work. You might feel like you have some psychic abilities with this feather, but there are blockages in that third eye, in accessing that part of yourself. And you fear what that means. You fear even maybe going there. With this gold at the top of the feather, I get, and I got this for feather number 1 as well. So that reading might resonate with you if you want to watch that one too. Of the Hanged Man. This crown of illumination that we see around the Hanged Man, where you're receiving almost like a spiritual wake-up call. You're receiving light to this dark with this crown, seeing things from a different perspective, learning to embrace this darkness, understanding that it is a part of you, that it is a part of your journey. But mostly I get this sense that you are somebody that you've gone through so much, and you want to know what the purpose is of all of those trials. And you don't realize perhaps that that is where your crown lies. Through all of this, all of these tests that the universe has put you through, it's almost like your ascension has to be earned through, I don't want to say through pain, but that is how you access your higher self, is through this darkness. You might even find that you're in a place where you might be a little bit depressed with this energy, like you're stuck in this negative mental energy. So let's see where this is going. I'm going to pull some tarot, and then we'll clarify where needed, and we'll wrap up with some oracle cards at the end here. For feather number 1, what is their greatest fear that is holding them back, please, for feather number 1? Feather number 1. Feather number 1, please. Uh-oh. That is a lot of cards. So we have Justice and the King of Cups. You could be a Libra, or you could be a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. I'm going to read the signs of the cards as they come up. If this is your sign, great. If not, don't focus on it. Take what resonates with you in the reading and leave what doesn't, okay? So you could certainly be a Libra, or you could be a Cancer, Scorpio, or a Pisces. What I'm getting from this is you fear opening up emotionally. You feel being in charge of your emotions, like you might not be able to get those under control. And that might be why you're in this state of depression or sadness. I also get that you have two things, and I realize the second might not resonate for everybody, but this is important, okay? So I'm gonna say it. You feel like life hasn't been fair to you, like you always get the short end of the stick. You've got justice on your mind, and feeling like you've been shortchanged almost in love, or whenever you've shown your vulnerability to somebody, you have been given the short end of the stick here. I also get for some of you that you feel like this sadness, this darkness, this negativity that's being cast your direction, it's karma for something that you've done in the past. It's the way things were meant to be because you feel like you might not be a good person, or it's what you deserve with the Justice card and the King of Cups. Like you're stuck in this place where you're repaying bad karma. And that weighs very heavy on your emotions. So I see this tug of war between this analytical, because justice is supposed to be blind, and your emotions. You can't seem to see where it is that your emotions are beneficial to you and where it is that your emotions are hindering you. So you might take this air about you where you have to hide your emotions because you feel like they might have gotten you into some trouble in the past. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Wands. So perhaps a pursuit of love, a pursuit of passion, has left you always feeling like you get the short end of the stick. People that you tried to move towards in a passionate manner, you haven't gotten the justice that you deserve with that. Very interesting. I also see the need to a fear of balancing emotion with the Libra scales here. You feel like you might not be able to balance something, a rough patch that you're going through right now, to dig your way out of that, to only dab, in this case it's a little tail. Traditionally it's 1 foot in the water with the King of Cups. You might feel like you're completely submerged instead of just enough emotion to be loving, to, you feel like you might be drowning in this. Very interesting. If you are in a place where you're going through this sadness, I feel like you fear doing that work, where you have to open up and dig out where this pain is coming from. You could be a Pisces as well, because obviously we have water energy here, and I had mentioned the Hangman with the halo on the gold. But there is a disconnect between your brain and your emotions here. And you almost feel like you have to be heavy-handed. You have to be like this sword of justice with yourself because your emotions have gotten you into some trouble. I also feel like this could be something that is familial, not familiar, familial, in the family. It could be somebody that you're married to, for example, that has made you feel like you're too emotional, that you care too deeply. Anytime that you show that vulnerability, they say, they tell you to put logic over your emotions. But definitely this feeling of feeling like things are unfair for you emotionally, whether that's through being depressed or sad, or through being able to express love. You've never met the right person, for example, that loved you the way that you wanted to, or you've been with cheaters, you've been with people that have betrayed you on an emotional level. So you've had to kind of guard yourself on how it is that you show your emotion. You're afraid to open up because you feel like, one, you'll never get justice in that way when you open your heart and show your vulnerability. Or two, you feel like you deserve this, like this is your karmic justice. This is the suffering that you have to go through because of something that you may have done in your past. Like you have bad luck almost. Interesting. Where did this fear originate for feather number 2, please? For feather number 2, where did this fear originate? I'm only taking flippers and jumpers, so please be patient. Okay. Again, water energy here with the 7 of Cups. This fear originated from options, from delusion, from feeling like you were looking for something that feels out of reach to you. So like I said, it's almost like feeling undeserving of love, of a full cup, of being in control of your emotions. Like that is a delusion. Like it's not possible for you. And there's a lot of confusion around this fear. You could have gotten this 7 months ago, 7 weeks ago, 7 years ago. You could have gotten this when you were 7 years old. Somebody showed you how unfair love could be. You could have been dealing with these issues of sadness since a very young age. It's interesting because, and I know this is very specific for some people and it's not going to resonate with everybody. I get the sense that you're almost, for example, for feather number 1, we had a sword here. So that tells me that the fear originated in your mind. This one originated in your heart. It originated in this emotion. It originated around people in your life that I feel like were supposed to be the example of stability. So you may have had parents, for example, that divorced, or your parents weren't around. You were raised by a grandmother or an aunt or an uncle, or you might have even been in the foster system. There's this dysfunction, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way. This dysfunction where you witnessed love that is like the kind of love in a Hallmark movie, and you feeling like that's not for me, that's not attainable. This is not my karmic path. I was meant to suffer almost. And these things, it's the way that this unicorn looks so longingly at this cup, at these cups, at these options. All of these things that he could love or she could love if they didn't feel just so far away, just so out of grasp. All of these things, the longing in his face, I very much get this sense like it's just this feeling of not deserving it. And that is something that springs from your emotion. So it's not a thought, it's an emotional hurt that has developed. Perhaps somebody made you feel like you were an option in your life, like you were never the chosen one. You were never the one that got picked. You were always the one that, especially if you had a lot of siblings, and you were the one that got the least attention because maybe your parents felt like you needed it the least because your brothers or sisters needed more help. You always felt like you were not picked. I get this imagery here of, you know, this is, depending on where you're watching, this is very common in America. When you're on the playground and kids are picking teams, you might have not gotten picked or you got picked last. And that made you feel like you were not even an option. People didn't even think that highly of you. You might be carrying that emotional burden since you were young, since you were 7. Like, life just isn't fair. I never got picked. I never was anybody's one. Interesting. What path will this lead down for feather number 2 if they don't release this fear? What path are we headed towards for feather number 2, if they don't release this fear? For feather number 2, what path are we headed towards if they don't release this fear, please, for feather number 2? The 9 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords. This feeling of being alone. This feeling of always being betrayed by others and having to be alone as a result. Like you're the only person that you can rely on. Being stuck at the 9 of Pentacles when maybe you want the 10. Maybe you don't even want the Pentacles. You're looking for the Cups, but you're so jaded by these past emotions that you're so hurt by them that you stick to the logical, the material. I won't even open myself up to my emotion. I will stick with what I can control. My work, my home, what kind of car I drive, a business. And feeling like if you were to take this leap into this emotion, you would get stabbed again, another sword in your back, another sword in your side. If you even dream about companionship, relationships, friendships, families, I get the sense of somebody that feels very alone here and that has decided, I can do bad all by myself, but in a way that you're almost shortchanging yourself. You're betraying yourself. Because the King of Cups has a lot of love to give. They can control these emotions. They can decide when it is that they will put their tail in that water and when they'll take it out. How much of their emotion they're going to let control their life. And how much is necessary to be pulled back so that you don't get taken advantage of. And there's almost this sharp turn here on this path where you might get all the material things that you're looking for, but you're betraying this emotional fulfillment. You're betraying togetherness. This is very much somebody that's decided, I can't do with other people. I might have to be alone. For feather number 2, please, what path are they on if they decide to release this fear? For feather number 2, please, what path are they on if they release this fear? For feather number 2, please, what path are they on if they release this fear and address it? For feather number 2, please. For feather number 2, please. This could also be that you're afraid to talk to somebody about issues like depression or sadness. For feather number 2, please. Ooh. Okay, the Star. The Six of Wands, the Emperor, Strength, the Seven of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, and Judgment. That is a lot of cards. Let's take them on one by one. So, coming into a place of hope, of healing, right? If you listen to the universe, if you leave these troubled waters behind and go in search of this love that you are afraid of, this emotion that you are afraid of, you get control of your healing. You get control of your hope. You take charge of your emotions, of your life path. And you almost reinvent yourself. You re-inspire yourself by leaving this in the past. And there's victory there. There's victory on the other side of these troubled waters. If you're willing to dig it out with this black feather, if you're willing to go deep into your subconscious and understand why it is that you're so afraid of this emotion and what it is that got you here, you'll definitely gain strength. You'll gain strength out of this. You'll come out feeling much stronger. And I feel like you'll feel like you've tamed this beast inside of you. You've tamed this thing that's been nagging at you, clawing at you. You'll feel like you can tackle anything. But you've become this emperor. This is the missing piece of the puzzle that will get you into absolute boss mode. I also get too that this investment is worth it. It's something that is going to require patience. It's something that is going to require you to wait. It won't happen right away. But these are seeds that are worth tilling. This is land that is worth tilling. These are seeds that are worth growing. And you don't just want to do this, you have to. You have to listen to the call. You have to, this is the universe screaming down at you that this needs to be healed. It is your destiny. It's time to come out of this coma, this coffin, in order to plant these seeds, to walk away from the things, all these thoughts from the past that bring you pain, and to get this victory. That is when you will renew yourself. There is hope. There is a way to turn this feather white. And to take charge of this, to dig yourself out if you are in a place where you are depressed. There is a way to dig yourself out of it. I think too, in order to make this transition, you have to let your guard down and stop operating in this space of betrayal. You'll always be hurt by people, so you're going to stay alone, or you have to do this alone. You might feel like you're being judged if you talk to somebody about this, especially if this is something to do with something like depression. But you're not going to be judged. In fact, you're being guided to make this call, to not ignore the need to speak and to be heard. here in this judgment. When you speak, people will listen and people will rally behind you. They will support you. You'll have way more support here than you realize that you will, trying to address this fear and this transition. You could be a Leo, Sagittarius, Aquarius. We've got a little bit of everything. Earth's energy. We've got wands, fire, air, water. And again, the Pisces energy here with the Hanged Man, Libra with Justice, Aries with the Emperor. I think that's all of them. Or you could be dealing with somebody that has this in their chart. I want to get some advice for you guys. For feather number 2, please. But look at all of this wonder that's waiting on the other side of this fear. All of this strength and hope. Some advice, please, for feather number 2. For feather number 2, please, some advice. For feather number 2, please. I got third eye just now too, like feeling like you need to protect yourself from somebody that might be trying to manipulate you emotionally, and that's why you refuse to show those emotions. For feather number 2, like you have this feeling that there is nobody trying to actually hurt you. It's almost like you're the only person in the equation that is hurting yourself. You're the only person that's betraying. Feather number 2, please, some advice. Big picture thinking, visionary, inspired ideas. So needing to look at the big picture to get some inspiration. I also, too, because of this card, this mirroring, I feel like you need to look at your own reflection. I just thought about that Man in the Mirror song. This is something that is more internal to you than is actually occurring. You might think these things instead of them actually being the case. Also, having a bold vision. If you decide that this 9 of Pentacles isn't what you want, perhaps it's good for right now, but is it good in the big picture? Are you okay with being alone? With doing everything on your own? Or at least having the air about you that you have everything under control. When deep inside you're in this place with 10 swords on your side. You have to look at the big picture in order to be inspired to get help about this energy. If you're in a place where you are incredibly sad and you find yourself, in this state of depression, your big why, your big picture thinking, your vision is what's one of the things that's going to propel you to get help here, to speak to somebody and to get control of this. Having that big vision that maybe people have told you is a pipe dream. It's right here on the other side of this fear. You just have to go get it. You have to put the idea in your head. And then those things can start transpiring for you. You have to manifest it. That requires the thought first. The Magician asks us, what is it that you want me, what thought do you want me to put in your head? Not what can I manifest for you, but what thought can I plant into your head so that you can begin to take the first step into manifestation? And I get that energy heavily here, that you need to have the idea. That could be the person that you know you want to be in the future. That could be a vision board that will help lift your spirits to all the possibilities. I feel like you're transmuting this feeling of delusion, where you look at something and you think, that's delusional, that's too out of reach, that will never happen for me. And you're realizing here that this isn't as far as you think. These cups, I mean, if you look at the card, his nose or her nose is practically touching that cup. The life that you want to live is not a delusion. It's right there. You just have to jump. You just have to take a couple little steps and you can get to these cups. A very interesting reading. I don't think there's really much that needs to be clarified here. I think it was pretty straightforward. Let me know what you think about this, if it resonated down below. What is this emotion that you feel is kind of keeping you from moving forward? And this justice, this karma, this feeling of things not being balanced or fair that has you kind of in your head here. Let me know in the comments. And if you like these type of readings too, let me know. If you got something from this, if you would be encouraged to thumbs the video up, I'd greatly appreciate it. If this is where I leave you, I'm so grateful that you watched the video today. You can always reach me on my website, on my social media channels, and there's plenty of other videos on the channel for you to watch if you're interested in those. With that said, again, I'm so grateful for you stopping by, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Alrighty, if you picked feather number 3, then this is the reading for you on what your deepest fear is, whether conscious or subconscious, and how it is that that fear is betraying your destiny. How it is that that fear is holding you back from being the person that you were meant to be, from ascending to a higher level. We're going to jump into some tarot. We are also going to clarify wherever needed, and I will give you some oracle cards at the end for advice. But I'd like to begin by actually going over the feather that you picked. So you picked the white feather with the brown top. Now, as I said in the beginning of the reading, feathers to me typically represent swords in the tarot, and swords represent our mental thoughts, our mental energy. Feathers in general are seen as kind of this sign of wisdom. If you notice them even in a traditional setting, you see them very often on Native American headdresses as a sign of wisdom, a sign of ascension. You've reached a level of chief, or, you've reached this pinnacle of wisdom. And those are displayed by feathers. Feathers are also considered, if you see one falling on the ground next to you, as a sign that your angels are with you, that the universe is putting you on the right path, that you are where you are supposed to be, and that your prayers are heard and answered. Now, this feather in particular, you've got the white base and the brown at the top. So to me, this feather represents the search for divinity, a search for a fresh start, a search for your higher self, and for purpose. This is also I see this almost like wanting to evolve, finding yourself in a place where you are trying to move forward, where you're trying to get to the next level. I also see this as a sign that there is happiness at the end of the tunnel. So whatever it is that you are fearing, you will be able to overcome it. You will be able to release yourself from it. And you will find this happiness, this clarity that you're looking for in your mind. You'll be able to erase past hurts. Now, over the feather, we have this brown color. Now, to me, this represents the crown chakra, what is on the head of your person, what is weighing heavy on your mind. Having this brown, you could be an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, or a Capricorn. You could also be needing to ground yourself, to return to nature in a sense. You could be feeling the need to eat healthier foods that are clean, kind of returning to basics, if you will. Exercising minimalism with this brown at the top. I also see this as being stuck in the mud. And when I say that, I mean muddled thinking, muddled relationships, things that feel dirty, that feel like they need to be disinfected almost. Needing to cleanse something in your life and find balance between the physical and the spiritual, getting some stability in between both of those things. This muddiness, I feel like this could be mistakes that you've made in the past, regrets that weigh heavy on your head, doing things in ways that don't feel like they should have been done. Like you took shortcuts, or you might have taken the wrong path towards certain destinations, and because of that, you sacrificed the purity of arriving at the destination. So for example, you might have fallen in love, and you decided, and there's nothing wrong with this, I'm just painting a picture so that you can understand what I'm saying. You decided you fell head over heels for somebody, and you ended up having a child with that person. You didn't wait for the commitment. You didn't wait for them to buy you a home, to put it all on the line, for you guys to build together. And then they ended up leaving you a year after, and you felt like that mistake muddied your ability because you took a shortcut to the destination. Now the destination is muddy. You can't find a way to feel fulfilled with the destination that you've arrived at, because you feel like you took a little bit of a wonky turn in the process. This could be you feeling shortchanged, like you've given every pure part of you and you've gotten mud slung at you in return. That might not resonate with all of you, but I got it, so I'm gonna speak it. So let's see where this is going. I'm going to pull some tarot, and I'm going to ask what it is that you fear the most. What is it that pile number 3, feather number 3, fears the most? For feather number 3, please, what is their greatest fear? For feather number 3. We're only taking jumpers and flippers, so please be patient with me during the shuffles. So you have the 3 of Pentacles. And to me, obviously we have earth energy. Like I said when I looked at this feather, that you could be an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. The 3 of feathers speaks of collaboration, of working together, of coming together with somebody. It also speaks of putting somebody on a pedestal, delegating, coming into union with others that can help you complete a specific task. So your fear lies in relying on other people, in collaborating with them, whether that's in an emotional sense, in a work setting, being a team player. You fear having to work with other people. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Tower. So you could have found yourself in a situation that shook you to your core, where you were building something with someone and all of a sudden the rug was swept out from under you. A partnership that you thought you had, whether in work, friendship, or love, that fell apart. I also see this as a fear. So you fear coming together because that has not worked out to your advantage. You might even, if this is a work scenario, had somebody that stole an idea from you. You were supposed to collaborate with somebody on something and they took your idea and ran and made something of it without you. Yeah, that could be for some of you. But I also get the sense, and maybe this is why that example came to me, of, having a child before you had a commitment from somebody. You thought that you were on this path to work together in union with somebody, and the rug was pulled out from under you. And now you're trying to rebuild. You are trying to, but you're afraid to ask for help in rebuilding because perhaps you have burned some bridges. And that's why things feel so muddy. Or you're afraid to jump into a collaboration because somebody ruined that for you before. They ruined your vision of what that looks like, to be on a team with somebody, to share, to build together. So some regret, some remorse over who it was that you chose to put on a pedestal to build something with in the past. And now you feel like you don't just have to be cautious of who you collaborate with, of who you let in your space. You have to block it out altogether. This Three of Pentacles is not for you. This could, or the collaboration, you might think I'm gonna need to do things on my own. This could also speak to cheating. I don't want to immediately go there, but perhaps you were with somebody and they cheated you, whether it was out of this idea, out of money, out of a job, or out of a relationship. There was too many cooks in the kitchen. And that fear of that hurt that was caused to you is prohibiting you from moving forward towards something that will work. Because not all collaboration fails. Perhaps the lesson that needed to be learned is to be more discerning on who it is that you come into collaboration with. Definitely this fear of building something, because you might need to rely on somebody else to do it. You can control certain outcomes when it comes to material abundance, mental abundance. You can control certain outcomes when it comes to your career, the type of car that you drive, the type of home that you live in. You cannot control other people and what they will do to you or for you or against you. And that is something that you fear. Giving people that control, needing to rely on somebody. This could be financial as well. You could fear that you are stuck in this Three of Pentacles and you'll never reach the Ten of Pentacles. You'll never reach the King of Pentacles. You'll never move past this place where you're dependent on somebody to help you financially. That Tower, that Three of Pentacles, this Tower card with a Three of Pentacles, perhaps you feel like if you were to try to build something on your own, that your house would come crumbling down. You wouldn't be able to afford where you're living. If you, for example, are in a relationship that you don't want to be in, if you leave, you might not be able to rebuild that. Almost like a mindset that you won't be okay financially. Let me clarify the Three of Pentacles. Clarify the Three of Pentacles for me, please. The Three of Pentacles. All the cards that I use will be listed in the description down below. The Three of Pentacles, please. What can you tell me about the Three of Pentacles? Oh, the Tower again. So you could be a Scorpio. You could be dealing with a Scorpio. But there's a fracture in the foundation. Perhaps you fear acknowledging that. Whether that's the way you started out in school, the way that you started the home life that you have now, the way that you started your career. There's this fracture and this sense of longing for something more. And this feeling that the thing that you've built won't last or has fallen, has already collapsed. I definitely get a lot of financial energy here. Like you fear not being able to be abundant, to take care of yourself, to hold your home together. Interesting. Let's keep going and see what else we can get here. Where did this fear originate, please, for feather number 3? Where did this fear originate, please, for feather number 3? Where did this fear originate, please, for feather number 3? For feather number 3, please. Where did this fear originate? For feather number 3. Okay, the Two of Cups. So the devil wanted to show itself there underneath that. This began in a union of some sort. You wanted to share your cup with somebody. And this person, there was a fracture in how you guys decided to build together. We've got water energy here, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So you could have, wow, this example that I gave it keeps replaying in my head now. You could have fallen in love with somebody, shared your emotion, shared your cup, even shared your finances, and they left you splintered and cracked. And this was a shock to you. It was something that had to do with this passion. You followed your passion. You followed your heart. You thought this was going to be this new fire, this new something that you could really nurture. And you probably shared more than you should have with this person. And I mean it in every sense. Emotionally, you thought this person might have been a soulmate to you. And you might have even given them, half of your fortune, half of your savings. You split and merged these cups. And now you're tangled in some sense. And you fear, I could see this both ways. You fear splitting this up now that you guys have come into collaboration. How will the house crack if I pull it apart? If I pull myself from this situation? How will I take care of myself? You fear that, but you also fear giving yourself to somebody again because they might pull a tower on you as well. And you're almost hesitant to anything that makes you feel this soul type of connection again, skeptical, this pessimism that somebody could just be out to hurt you. If this is a work-related spread, if you feel like this resonates with you deeper on a work level, I see this as you being afraid to take a first step into a business, into something that you build. because you don't feel like it was meant for you. You feel like your life will fall apart if you pursue this passion, if you pursue this thing that is your soul's calling, that you feel you are karmically tied to. What path is feather number 3 headed towards if they do not release this fear? For feather number 3, please. For feather number 3, please. What path are they headed towards if they do not release this fear? The 7 of Swords and the King of Pentacles. You're deceiving yourself. You are cheating yourself out of the stability that you feel that you cannot have. You're cheating yourself out of turning into this king. Like I said at the beginning, you might feel like you're stuck at the 3 forever, and you won't make it to the 10 or the king. And this is what you're blocking. This is what the path that you're headed towards is sabotaging this stability. If we don't get rid of our fear of putting in the work, of collaborating. I almost wonder if you are an entrepreneur, feather number 3, or you've had entrepreneurial thoughts where you've said, I don't want to work for somebody anymore. I want to shake things up. I want to be on my own. I want this to fall so that I can build my own tower, my own foundation, my own company, my own business. But you're afraid that you're dependent on this money. You know, you could be living paycheck to paycheck. So it just feels like such a delusional dream. But you have this soul tie to this thing. You know that this is your twin, this occupation, this business. And you're afraid to take that first step. You're afraid, the passion, the fire, it scares you. For the 2 of Cups, we had the Ace of Wands, that beginning of that passion, the beginning of chasing that passionate new beginning. And here, with the 7 of Swords and the King of Pentacles, sabotaging this stability because you're afraid of this passion again. Maybe you've tried to start a business before and it didn't work out for you. Or again, the example with a relationship. You know, you could have been with somebody that took and took and took. And you gave and gave and gave because you felt so connected to them. They shockingly left you. They might have taken some of your wealth, some of your worth, both literally and metaphorically. And so you're cheating yourself out of coming into union with somebody again. You might even have commitment issues, be commitment phobic, when there is somebody that has the stability out there for you, that is going to pamper you, that is going to take care of you, that is going to reciprocate what you put into a relationship and not leave you in this place where your tower has crumbled. More earth energy here. And this is your fear. I mean, these are your feathers. Your fear is this jagged sword, these jagged swords that are stealing from your future path, stealing this stability. You reaching this king status, or you finding a complementary mate that you can build with, that will not leave you in this tower position, that will offer the equal stability that you bring to the table, to where you feel like this relationship is actually balanced, this business is balanced, this is fair. You're cheating yourself out of this partner, or you becoming the king from the three. What path is feather number 3 on if they address this fear? What path will feather number 3 be on if they address this fear and confront it? For feather number 3, please. The 4 of Wands. A home, stability. I think I might have had another flipper. Just going to check that really quick to make sure I don't miss anything. No, okay. Yeah, you're sacrificing this union, a divine union, 11-11. I mean, if this isn't, your destiny, I don't know what is. And notice on this card that both unicorns bring something to the table. They're equal in size. You're sabotaging this union. The 2 of Cups that you thought meant so much has stopped you. This 2 of Cups falling to pieces has stopped you from getting to this place that is the 4 of Wands, that is higher levels of commitment, that is marriage, that is this beautiful balanced passion, each unicorn bringing the same thing to the table, reciprocating the same amount of love, the same amount of partnership. I also see this as, because we've talked a lot about home, right? Remember I saw home with the Tower? I feel like this fear is you're so worried about staying in the 3 of Pentacles and not taking a risk because you might end up without a place, that you are sacrificing this home. You're staying stuck in this home, this cracked home, for this home. So this could be a literal home. You're afraid to take the steps into home ownership because you feel like you won't get that. You need to count on somebody else to constantly provide that for you. And that could be what this Tower is. It could be a warning that this sense of stability that you have can be taken away at any moment. It can go away. The only thing that you can depend on is if you build this yourself. That way you don't have to live hand to mouth by this other person if you are in a situation where you're afraid to leave because you feel like you won't be financially stable. It's very, very interesting. At the bottom of the deck we have the Moon. You could be a Pisces or a Cancer. I feel like you might feel like this is delusional thinking. Like this idea of you being able to reach this 4 of Wands is a pipe dream. And it's not. It's right here. It's not just here, but it is 11-11. I mean, it's written in the stars. You just have to release the blockage. Clarify the 7 of Swords, please, because I'm nosy now. I was going to move on to the Oracle cards, but I kind of want to know what this is. Clarify the 7 of Swords, please. The Knight of Wands, again, with this passion. Notice how the clarifying cards on your spread have all been wands, have all been passion. This idea of playing with fire, you're afraid to pursue that. You might feel like you need to focus only and solely on practicalities instead of those things that make your heart burn with passion. It's like you're cheating yourself out of this passion, or like I said before with the Three of Pentacles, somebody might have cheated on you and turned your home upside down. And the thought of that is still, because the Knight of Wands is in and out, player type energy, right? They're in 1 minute, they're gone, they're not consistent. That betrayal has lingered in your mind with these swords. And it's cheating you from finding this person, because you're so stuck on what this person did to you. Coming in and out and doing whatever they pleased, whenever they pleased. And you might feel like all relationships will be like this. The Empress at the bottom, so this could be somebody that you had a child with, like I said at the beginning. This could even be a parent that has made you feel like you can't do on your own. And that these ideas that you have about getting to this place, the path that you've chosen to take to get to this place is a pipe dream. And you need to focus on what they learned to get stability in their life. The 9 to 9 grind of living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm not disparaging that. I'm just saying it's a different way of thinking. You might have different ideas on how to get to this place. For some of you, and I know that this is not going to resonate with everybody, I just got that you need to fight for your home. That you need to stand up and fight for your home instead of packing up your swords and going home. You need to put that armor on, and you need to fight for the home that you've built. And that you will be successful in that fight. If, let's say, you are getting a divorce or something like that, you might get to keep the house. And because you have this negative energy out of your home now, it's this new, refreshed, happy place that you can build on with somebody else. Yeah, again, I recognize that won't resonate with everybody, but I got that for somebody, that you need to fight for your home. Especially if this was a third-party situation. Don't let them take the house, kind of, is what I'm getting. But look at this. Look at what lies ahead. If we focus on how our past hurts have made us feel cheated and have blocked this future stability, right? And this future home life that's balanced, that's happy, that has all the passion that you feared you couldn't have. Because we have the wands here. That's a very interesting spread. Let's pull some advice, some oracle cards for you. For feather number 3, please, what advice can you give me? For feather number 3, please, some advice. For feather number 3, please. This one wanted to come out. Lost lands, soul memories and gifts. You've done this before. Fight for your home. Lost lands. I mean, if you were to take that at its literal meaning, you might feel like somebody might have taken a home from you or is trying to take a home from you. I also get the sense here that you've been through this in another lifetime. This is the task that you have been charged with in this lifetime that you felt that you didn't get right in the last one, is getting yourself a stable home life, buying yourself that property, finding somebody in a relationship that will reciprocate with you 100% of what you give, they give 100% back. Yeah, 100% and 100%. And then you have the 7 star sisters, birthing creations, tapestry of life, expression. So the Ace of Wands here that you are afraid of, the Queen of Wands, those, and even this Knight of Wands, these cards speak a lot to me about creativity. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're afraid to start working on this foundation of a business, of working for yourself, being your own boss, it's time to birth that creation. And this creation might have to do with artistic expression because of these wands. And maybe that's the practical thing that people in your life are warning you away from, or that you're stopping yourself from, because you keep telling yourself, like, if I want to be an artist, I can't. I need to focus on practical things. I can't focus on this art. I can't focus on what it is that I'm trying to create here. I need to stay with what might be breadcrumbing you, but is stable breadcrumbing, versus something on a whim. I get the sense too here that first, we have here, you've done this before. So you know the path to move here. You just have to get rid of your fear. And I get the sense that you need to take baby steps here. Delicate baby steps. Don't try to tear everything down at once. You have to work on something small at a time. If this is a relationship, go on a dating app, play the field. If this is a business, get incorporated. Take that one little step. Think of a name. Think about what makes your business different. Write it in a notebook where nobody can see it. Don't go out and get a loan for $1 million. But start with something small to build towards this stability, to build in a way that is stable, one foot right after the other. That was a very interesting spread. I hope that you got something from this reading. If it resonated, please leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Really quickly before I let go, so we've got Scorpio here with the Tower. We've got fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, air, and earth. A little bit of water, so a little bit of everything. But Scorpio standing out in particular. Thumbs the video up if you liked it. It really helps the channel. And feel free to peruse the other videos that I have available on my watch list if you are interested in those. I'm so grateful that you watched. I hope that we see you again. And if this is where I leave you, I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, if you picked feather number 4, then this is the reading for you on what your greatest fear is and how it is that that fear is betraying your destiny, is stopping you from living to your full potential, from being the person that you are destined to be in this world. We are going to pull some tarot today. We're also going to clarify wherever needed and pull some oracle advice cards for you at the end. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about the feather that you picked, because I feel like for this particular reading, the type of feather that you were drawn to says something just as deeply resonant as the cards would say. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, feathers are, to me, swords in the tarot, and swords represent our mental energies. Traditionally speaking, feathers are seen as a sign of wisdom. In Native American culture, you see feathers on headdresses, and they are meant to reflect a certain level of wisdom that you have achieved in your life. They represent having your angels looking after you. If people say that if a feather falls, that it's a sign that you are being looked after, that there is somebody in the afterlife that is looking out for you, that the universe is on your side, that is a confirmation that you are on the right path. When we're dealing with this pink feather, the immediate thoughts that I get regarding this is the feeling of love, the feeling of being with those that we feel are a part of our tribe, whether it's people that are automatically in your family or people that you make into a family. Our friendships, those relationship bonds that we make with people. There's a certain softness to this feather that the other feathers didn't have. And I feel like this speaks very heavily of emotion. The emotions that kind of turn a house into a home. They fulfill us in ways that are so much deeper than the material world, than, what kind of car you drive. These connections, they're kind of like the softness that smooths out life's sharp edges. If you picked this pink feather, I definitely feel like love is on your mind. Love is something that weighs heavy on you. Having freedom in love, because of the feather, obviously, being able to take flight. I get this feeling of soulmates too. You might be wondering if you'll ever meet the person that you were destined to be with. Love might seem like something that is so distant from you and so inaccessible, and that might be why you gravitated towards this feather. You might have had situations in your life where you felt like you never had a traditional upbringing where people might have said, "I love you" at home, or you might not have had that picture perfect Thanksgiving dinner where everybody sat around a table. Your childhood, you may have felt like you were different from the other kids in how love was expressed in your household, in the type of support that you had in your life. So relationships, love, romance, soulmates, twin flames, friendships even, the cups in the tarot, this is what you were probably gravitating towards with this feather. I also see this idea of gentleness, almost like a feminine touch. If you picked this feather, you could feel disconnected in some sense from your femininity, and that isn't gender specific because we all have masculine and feminine energies. You might feel like you're not in touch with your femininity, like you are not as soft, as pink as you want to be. You might have issues surrounding self-confidence, around beauty. You might feel like you want to learn to speak softer, to be gentler in the way that you communicate. This could also speak to seduction. You could have seduction on your mind, wanting to, touch and be touched, and to control the hearts of men and women. I also get fertility from this card. So motherhood could be something on your mind. If you're a male, then starting a family. Even adoption could be something that you're thinking about with this card. Creativity, absolutely. It is the most colorful feather of all the options. So you could be an artist, you could be a creative, you could be a writer, a singer, a painter. You could be looking to express yourself more creatively, to live your life in color, to live your life out loud, to be different from the mold, and to dye your hair pink, and kind of live life as this expression of your art, of the art that you have inside. Lastly, I get caring from this color, from this feather, caring for others. That could be in a home situation. You could be a nurse. That could be your deep passion, is to help the world in some way, to care for people in some capacity. So let's see where the tarot takes us with this pink feather. I'm going to ask what it is that you fear the most for feather number 4. Now keep in mind that I am only going to take flippers and jumpers, so please be patient with the shuffle, as sometimes it takes a second for one to come out, okay? For feather number 4, please. What is the greatest fear? I have a feeling of what's going to come out. Let's see if it does. For feather number 4, please. Feather number 4. What is the greatest fear for feather number 4, please? What is the greatest fear for feather number... I knew it. I knew the Ace of Cups was going to come out. I mean, hello. If that's not confirmation, I don't know what is. I mean, even looking at the colors. Look at how pink that card is. Your fear is love. And you know what's interesting? I sense some resistance too. So if you're the one that said, no, that's not what I fear, that's what I want the most, the things that we want the most are typically the things that we fear the most as well. If that wasn't the case, there would be no regret, no remorse. So maybe you need to listen to this message more than anybody else. You picked the Ace of Cups. Your fear is love. And this could manifest itself in many different ways. This could manifest itself in being afraid to open yourself up. This could manifest itself in feeling like you'll never have the type of love that you deserve, a type of love that overflows, that you'll never get the chance to meet your soulmate. You're worried if you're going to be alone in your life. If you are currently in a relationship, you might have fears that you are settling for a love that is less than what you deserve. Am I ever going to find that person? I just heard that. You want love, but you fear it the most. I'm going to go back to what I said about your household, because we have Ace of Cups here. And I wouldn't be shocked, but I get the feeling, I wouldn't be shocked if the Six of Cups comes out in this position as well, in the past, on where this originated from. Because I get the feeling that you might have gotten this from childhood. This could be something that you're used to, and seeing destructive relationships, relationships that weren't equal, relationships that were built first perhaps on lust, and then people felt trapped with one another because they had kids, because they felt like they couldn't do any better, okay? Or on practicality. People that stayed together even though they shouldn't have been together. I see self-love here as well. So you could be afraid to invest in yourself because you're disconnected from your value, from your worth. So you don't feel like you are worthy of loving yourself. And that is also something that you could have learned from your childhood. You could be a water sign, a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces. You don't have to be, but that's the energy that's coming from this card. You're looking for something that feels divine, that feels like it was handed down from the heavens, and you're scared that you're not going to get it. And I feel like there has been opportunities that you are unaware of to have this, but you rejected them because first you judged a book by its cover. You didn't do the work to get down to the nitty-gritty of somebody. I get the Judgment card in my head when I say that. But also because you're afraid to open up. We have the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Again, water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. The Queen of Cups is a giving queen. She has experienced so much love that her heart is overflowing, much like the cup here in the Ace of Cups. And she can give that love freely. She has so much of it that she pours her love out into the world. And you're afraid. Look how far you are from the water in this imagery, from this emotion. You're keeping yourself a safe distance from this because it can't be controlled, because it can hurt you. Notice too, there's a bird, a pink bird, diving into that cup. You fear opening up. You fear love. But I feel this intense, it's almost like you want it so badly that the thought of not having it is stopping you from getting it. Because you feel like it's so out of reach that you won't get it, and you're almost manifesting that. The water won't touch you if you keep saying, I'm afraid that it will never touch me. This speaks to needing to open up your heart chakra and to give love in order to receive it, including love to the self. Let's see where this is going. Where did this hurt originate from? Where did this fear originate from, please? Where did this fear originate from? What do we have here? The King of Pentacles. So this feeling of needing stability over things that almost feel like pipe dreams, right? I need to pay my bills instead of worrying about being loved. This needs to be my priority. I also feel like you may have had a parent in your life who focused more on practicality, on stability financially, than they did on love. And perhaps they had a different type of love language that you misunderstood when you were younger, where you basically didn't realize that they also were in this place generationally. Their family may have not shown them this type of love either, so they didn't know how to express it. And so the only way that they did know how to express it was to say, clean your room, get a job, go to school, and to be kind of tough on you in that sense, without giving you a hug, giving you that reassurance that you were loved. You could have come from a broken family where you didn't have this stability, where a father may have left. And that, I hate to say daddy issues, but that's the nomenclature. You might have daddy issues surrounding your worthiness of being loved. Well, if the people in my life that were supposed to love me didn't, what does that say about me? Am I unlovable? Definitely get that from here. That this is somebody that almost taught you. And I don't think it was on purpose. I don't see a malicious intent here. But you were so distanced from love, from what we consider common, the Hallmark movie displays of love, that you feel like maybe there's something wrong with me that makes me unlovable. If my own father, if my own parent, if whoever raised me, if my home life, if those people wouldn't nurture me, I must be not worthy of being nurtured. Interesting. Okay, let's see what happens if you stay on this path and you don't deal with this fear of love. For feather number 4, please. What's the outcome in their path if they don't confront this fear? Temperance and the 4 of Swords. Stuck in, and the 8 of Cups wanting to show up underneath that. Stuck in this place of being alone, not connecting, because you haven't healed. This 4 of Swords talks about taking that deep reflection, that deep introspection. But this person is alone. They are alone in their thoughts, in these swords. You have the Hermit at the bottom as well. Again, alone. You're blocking yourself from healing. And your path is leading you to remaining alone. If you don't figure out the deep roots of why you feel unworthy, unlovable, or why you feel like your love is not out there for you, or like it's never going to come. I also see this as a need to speak to somebody about these issues in order to heal. You know, going to a therapist, speaking to a spiritual advisor, speaking to somebody in high regard about your issues with commitment in order to heal this heart. What's the outcome? But yeah, I mean, this is alone, you know? This is the path that you're setting yourself up if you don't open your heart for. Remember, fate is not final. So this isn't your destiny. This is what would happen if you continued on your current path. At any moment, you can change this so that you don't spend a life in being a recluse, being alone, living alone, constantly swimming in your thoughts. And I feel constantly thinking about this, having this over your head, right? Having this weighing heavy on you. What would be the outcome for feather number 4, please, if they released this fear? If they address their issues of unworthiness and love, what would be the outcome, please, if the 10 of Cups comes out? Feather number 4, please. What would be the outcome of the path? Oof, the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is the outcome. It's funny because remember when I said at the beginning, for the person that thought, no, I'm not afraid of love, that's the thing that I want the most, that they needed to watch this video the most. This Ace of Cups at the bottom was the Queen of Cups, if you remember correctly at the beginning of the spread. The thing you're most afraid of is the thing you want the most. And you can have it. You can have it. It's possible. It's possible to be this queen that has so much love and so much abundance that they have extra that they can give away. This thing that you fear the most is the thing you want the most. And you can, if you release the feeling of unworthiness, that you weren't meant to have a connection like this in your life. Let's clarify a little bit here. I mean, I think this spread is pretty self-explanatory, but let's see what else we can get. Clarify the Ace of Cups, please. Temperance, needing to heal the heart. There are wounds here that you have yet to see. Or maybe you do see them, but you're ignoring them, you're pushing them away. That has to be healed. And this butterfly on the Temperance card, this happened at moment of deep transformation in your life. So it could be like when you were coming of age, that something, very transformative years is what I mean. That something shook you and made you feel like you didn't have the love that you needed, and that there was a reason for that, and the reason was you. And I'm being told to tell you that broken people have a hard time expressing love, not because they don't love you, but because they never learned how to love. They never healed their own wounds. And that spills over. That spills over generation after generation. And that's not your fault. It's not your fault if somebody was unable to show you this love. It's because they were so broken that they didn't know how to. They weren't shown either. I feel like there might need to be some forgiveness here. Perhaps with the person in your life that made you feel this way. When you watch the video and you think back on where this came from, there might need to be some forgiveness, even if you don't speak to the person. Letting it go in your mind. Of, you know what, I understand. I understand what it's like to not know how to love, to feel lost in how to love, because I'm that way because of what I learned from you. Right? It's almost like recognizing the person that made you feel this way, that first planted these thoughts into your head. That recognizing that they're doing the same thing that you're doing now. And it's not out of malicious intent. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've got somebody in your past that was abusive towards you, that hurt you, then I can understand you. I'm not telling you that you need to forgive them. But forgiveness is needed here, even if you just forgive yourself for the thoughts, for the emotions of feeling unloved. Looking at yourself in the mirror, I get that too with these 2 cups. You looking at yourself and pouring love back into yourself and saying, I forgive you for feeling unloved. I forgive you for feeling like this love won't happen for you. And it's time to heal this. It's time to open the chakra up. To receive and to give, even in just small doses in everyday life, to get to this Queen of Cups. Because you're starting at the Ace and you're ending at the Queen. You can forgive and then maybe do small acts of kindness. And then get on a dating app. Or if this is in your family, because not all love issues are with finding a soulmate, finding a partner in that way. This could be healing a rift with somebody in your family. Maybe just sending a text saying, hello, I've been thinking about you, baby steps. Some healing is necessary though. And I feel like this happened during your transformative years, when it mattered the most that somebody showed you how to be loved. I just got that song, How to Love. Who sings that? Lil Wayne, maybe? Little something. One of the littles. How to Love. Yeah. That's the song for this spread. Listen to that song. Even if it's not your genre of music, your preferred genre of music, I believe it's Lil Wayne that sings that. But you might find something that resonates in there for you, because I'm hearing it strong in my head now. Clarify the King of Pentacles, please. King of Pentacles, please. The King of Pentacles. What did I say? I would not be shocked if the Six of Cups came into this position. This is something from your childhood. And if you look at these cups, they continue to pour into each other. They pour into each other. It's like your father, your mother, whoever raised you, brothers, sisters, people that were supposed to be your family, in your formative years, in your childhood, they poured these thoughts into you, these emotions, that you weren't worthy, that you weren't worth pouring into. And that's not your fault. This is a reflection of them, not of you, not of who you are. This is something that came from your childhood. More than likely from a father figure. And you might still have some disagreements with that person on some conflict with them that has yet to be healed. And I feel like if you were to approach this person and say, I want to talk about the past and about what hurt, you'd be shocked at the type of healing that you might get. And they might even tell you, look, I'm sorry that I couldn't give you what you needed. I didn't even know what I needed. But this is something that has been passed down from generation to generation. I mean, look at those cups, that imagery flowing down from cup to cup to cup from your great ancestors, this inability to show that kind of love. We have the Page of Swords here as well at the bottom. So another card referencing a child. Very, very interesting. Okay, so far we have Sagittarius twice. We have water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. We have air energy, and we have some earth energy here. Clarify the Four of Swords, please. I believe the Hermit was at the bottom of the deck when we talked about this path of feeling alone because this wasn't healed. Four of Swords, please. Clarify the Four of Swords. The King of Swords, the King of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. And you have the Six of Swords at the bottom. Needing to travel to calmer waters. Needing to heal something. Needing to let go of these thoughts. There's a lot of water imagery that has come into this spread. Again, you could be a water sign, but I feel like it has to do with emotion. Because even on the Six of Swords, when we look at the traditional deck, it's a boat that is going from choppy water to calm water. And water represents emotion. That transition from these hard feelings of the past. The way that we think about these hard feelings, because they're swords. Moving into calmer water, calmer emotions about that. Healing that. So for the Four of Swords, we have the Queen of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the King of Swords. Now, like I said earlier, you might look to getting into therapy for this, to express these feelings of unworthiness in a setting where you don't feel judged. Because the King of Swords judges. The King of Swords is almost like, they're not justice, obviously, but they're almost like they cut. They cut and they make assumptions. So we have the King of Pentacles here and the Queen of Wands. These could be your parents, things that you'll talk about. But I feel like this King of Swords could be a therapist, that kind of authority figure. The kind of authority figure that will help you put logic into the equation to figure out these emotions that have disconnected you from this path. this is a person with a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge that will help you pull these negative emotions out and replace those with thoughts that help you heal about your mother and your father, or whoever it was here, this energy that gave you the idea that you were not lovable, or that you should settle in love. I don't know why I'm getting... Give me just 1 second. I'm trying to make sense of this message that I'm getting. For some of you, and I realize this won't resonate with everybody, I feel like some of you, either you opened yourself up to somebody and they might have cheated on you, they might have wandered, and that's what needs to be healed, your trust issues. Or your parents, maybe one of them had cheated on the other, and that led to a split, or that led to you living with this knowledge of, dad cheated on mom, why did she stay with him? That's not the kind of love that I want. So you're very picky, to the point where you don't realize that you're being picky because you don't want to have to risk going through that hurt. Because I see 3 different people in this equation. That's why I'm thinking maybe, and again, for a few of you, not for everybody, but maybe you witnessed this. You either were cheated on, or you witnessed a family dynamic where there was this love that was unhealthy, and somebody stepped out. And you need to discuss those things in order to heal. You need to bring them out. You need to purge them. And you need to do that in order to get this emotional distance. The Queen of Cups, please. Clarify the Queen of Cups. The King of Wands. Not to beat a dead horse, but for those of you who are in the situation where you did see a third party, or somebody cheated on you, and that is a wound that has yet to heal, and that's why you're afraid to try this again, the path in the future, confronting this, your feelings of inadequacy, your feelings of betrayal around this, I feel like this puts you in a place where you're in control of your emotions, and you can decipher between things like lust and things like somebody just trying to use you, and somebody that's actually stable. And you won't feel like you were a bystander in your own love life, in your relationships. If this is about siblings, reconnecting with your children, if this is about, something other than a romantic relationship, this allows you to take the control and feel like you are in charge of how you love and who you love and how much you love. And that might be what eases the transition from this ace to this queen, where you don't feel as out of control. You don't feel like you're throwing caution to the wind and letting anybody in that could hurt you again like you were in the past here. This could be somebody that's coming in the future, an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. I get this as your energy. This is a different type of energy. So either you're incorporating this mindset in the future, when it comes to giving your heart, you're not afraid to go after what you're passionate about. You're not afraid to open up and to go after this love. Or you have found this place that you can be open and you can love and be loved with a fire sign. And if you look in his eyes, doesn't that just say like it's safe for you here? They're almost like gushing towards this Queen of Cups, the love that you felt that your parents never had or that you never thought that you'd have, where somebody literally idolizes you. They get teary-eyed. That's how much emotion they have, the emotion that you're afraid of, that you'll never get. That's how much emotion they have for you. That they are teary-eyed just looking at you, mesmerized. You have justice at the bottom. So a balance, right, between going after your passions and remaining in charge of your emotions and opening up and knowing how much to open up and how much to give. But also, oh my God, look at this. Look at this card. On one scale, you have the heart, and on the other scale, you have the feather. Balancing logic and emotion, your thoughts and your heart, but also balancing this fear on one side and this queen on the other. You'll understand how to have the best of both worlds here. That is absolutely beautiful. Feather number 4, you got me in my feels. Congratulations. You have this balance and this harmony between these thoughts that keep you afraid. You have enough fear to keep you safe without sacrificing never being able to open up your heart and to show people how you feel and to grasp this King of Wands, these passions, this love that you feel like you'll never have. But this needs to be healed first. And I believe it stems from the past. There has to be healing, there has to be forgiveness. There has to be an outpouring of love. I think this outpouring of love needs to be from you to you as well. You know, changing the way you speak to yourself. I love myself. I am worthy of being loved. I am special. I am unique. I am powerful. I choose my path. I choose my destiny. This is the one that I'm picking. This is the destiny that I'm moving towards. I won't let these fears hold me back. I will speak to somebody. I will open up with whoever it was in the past that put these thoughts into my head. I will heal this. I am lovable. I am lovable. I am lovable. I am love. These things, these affirmations, you know, that could be your mantra for this year, is telling yourself every day. And I see that, you know, you could be doing that in the mirror, looking directly at yourself with these 2 cups, giving and taking from one another. Saying, I am love, I am lovable, I am love, I am lovable, I am healed, I am happy. Saying that over and over again to balance out the thoughts and the heart. Let's see if we can get some advice cards for you. Advice, please, for feather number 4. Advice, please, for feather number 4. Okay, that's a lot of cards, but we're going to do it. You're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness, face your true north. This pain, it's not your fault that somebody transferred this onto you and taught you this, right? The way that you want to love, the way that you needed to be loved, not everybody can have that in their childhood, but you can decide to face your true north and get that for yourself in the future. Don't sacrifice either for somebody, or excuse me, not sacrifice, I meant settle. Because you're so desperate for this Ace of Cups that you end up with somebody just like the person that hurt you, that put these ideas in your head. And when we look at the Four of Swords, the King of Pentacles is down below. So maybe you have this pattern of dating people that are unavailable so that you don't have to get attached, but also that are just like the person that hurt you this much to put you in a place where you were afraid to love to begin with. Maybe you keep going back to that, and that is something that you will talk about. You're not for everyone. Stop trying to make square pegs fit into round holes. The Void. Stop. Embrace winter. Great cosmic womb. Looking into the deepest parts of yourself. Stopping and embracing the winter. Embracing your own inner womb. I feel like this has to do with self-love a lot too. Realizing, like I said, you are love. You are love. You are made of love. You are every particle in the universe that is love, that creates love. You're made of that. So healing that cosmic womb inside of you. And embracing winter, embracing the cold. Understanding that this cold, this lack of warmth, this lack of love, perhaps there is something teachable there, right? Perhaps you've been afraid to love for a while. And sure, you haven't had that love yet, but you have learned to be independent, to have a rich inner world where you don't have to depend on anybody. So you could be okay by yourself if you had to be, right? Embrace the darkness, embrace the things that you learned as a result of not having this. Perhaps one of the things that you learned, I'm getting this for somebody, is how you want to raise your children so that they don't feel like you were made to feel, right? Embracing winter. But this requires you to stop and to reflect before that can be done. Portal. Doors are opening. You decide. Rewards and a wild card. I'm sorry, I'm filming downstairs. If you hear that road noise, I apologize. You have to decide to heal this, to jump through that orgasmic portal to the other side. And what lies on the other side? There's no guarantee, but you have to decide if the juice is worth the squeeze. If you truly feel like you cannot live without this divine love, without this sense of love, of togetherness, even if that's not in a romantic relationship, to heal a family, to heal a brother and sister relationship, to heal a relationship with your own children, you have to decide if the juice is worth the squeeze to walk through that portal. You have to know in your heart that any pain that lies on the other side is worth it if you can get closer to this Queen of Cups. It's a bit of a gamble. Love is. You cannot control people. You can't make people love you, right? Double mission. Lightworker Starseed. Serve the world by being you. With this pink feather, I had mentioned earlier that you were of service to others. Maybe you were a nurse. Maybe you were, you've used this pain to help other people. It's like therapists, for example. A lot of people say therapists become therapists because they're really trying to understand themselves. They really are trying to help themselves, right? I feel like this pain, this void of love that you feel, or like this disconnect where you feel like you might not have it, that the lessons that that is teaching you is ascending you into a place where your lack of love has taught you these lessons that will help you love others. So because you were alone, for example, you understand loneliness. And so you are the best nurse that there is, right? You are the best teacher because you can identify students that don't have that type of nurturing in their home life. Because you have lived with that pain, you can soothe, you can give of your cup to others. So not only does healing this rift bring the love into your life that you're looking for, that love, that cup, you can pour it out into the world. So you have a double mission. You don't, if I haven't put enough pressure on you, here it is, okay? It's not just you that you need to save in this lifetime. It is not just you that you need to heal this heart for. It is for the world. There are people that need your healed heart in order to be delivered and healed themselves from the pain that they feel that only you can understand because only you have been through this experience. Very few people grow up like this, and I always believe that it's for a reason. I'm one of those people where I can resonate with this deeply, this past. And I can serve other people now because I know what that feels like. I know why people come to these readings, the type of assurances they're looking for, the reciprocation that somebody hears them. That is really what a tarot reading is at the end of the day. It's somebody watching a video on the other end of the screen and saying, I feel like this person hears me. So if you can't get yourself together for you, you have to do it for the world. And I hate to put that pressure on you, but I'm going to because I feel like it'll push you into the right direction. There are people that are counting on you, especially if you are a parent. Your children need you to heal this heart so that you can love them the right way, so that you can heal them deeply, and so that you can help them become at their starting point, not starting from an Ace of Cups. They can start from the Queen of Cups because mom or dad or uncle or whoever that you might be raising a child for, they healed themselves and they set me up as the Queen of Cups from the beginning. Instead of how my parents set me up, which was at the bottom, at the Ace, at the beginning, having to relearn everything to the Queen status. So no pressure. It's just the fate of the universe that weighs in the balance here. Feather number 4. Okay. Really quickly, so I mentioned we have, I think I might have done the signs. Let me do them just in case if I forgot. We have Libra. We have fire energy, water energy, obviously, air and earth, Sagittarius twice, so that's pretty prominent. And again, water energy and air energy. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. All right. Feather number 4, I hope that you got something from this reading. I know it's not your typical romance stuff, and that's okay. I love doing these types of readings. I feel like this is just as important as doing videos about whether or not somebody's into you, right? If you got something from this, if you could leave a comment down below and let me know if it resonated, thumbs the video up. It certainly helps the channel out, and of course it's not required, but if you considered subscribing, I would greatly appreciate it. I've got other videos on the channel that might help you, that you might be interested in. If not, if this is where I leave you, then thanks for stopping by. Millions of readers on YouTube, and you ended up here somehow. So I thank you for your time. Until next time, I guess. See you guys later. Bye.